The following is a Fourth Hand production.
Hey everybody, welcome into Sad Times once again, and just to give you a little rundown if you haven't seen the show, just to kind of give you an idea of what the show's about. Each week I have somebody on as a guest, and we talk about things in their life that have made them sad, things where they had a tough time, kind of how they acted, what their reaction was to it, and they kind of talk through that. The hope being, I think that we all go through these things, and the hope being that we could all speak a little bit more about it and then be a little more open about it, and then we'd all feel a little less alone and maybe a little more empathetic. So that's kind of what we're doing here today. Today I have my good buddy, Jon. How you doing, Jon?
Hello.
Good to see you, man.
Good to be here.
So, Jon, I met you, 8 years ago?
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, even more, because it was in 2010 we were rehearsing.
10, 11, yeah.
Yeah. We did a show together. We were in a fake band.
Yeah.
Called Samsara.
Samsara.
Yeah.
We could play verse, chorus, verse.
That's right. And so you are still an actor today, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, where are you from?
Originally from Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
But around 94, 95, my family moved to Orlando, Florida.
How old were you in 94, 95?
10, 11.
10, 11, okay. Were you upset when you had to move?
I think initially, but our family was really tight, and we've always been really tight, so I think we had just had my dad did sit us all down. We had a group conversation about it, so it was very much a family decision, and it all looked really good in paper, and it was Florida, and we were kids, so that sounded great.
Yeah, well, right, Disney World. Did you go to Disney World a lot growing up?
No, we did vacation, though, about a year before my father got an offer for a job down there, so I think we knew kind of what we were getting into, and he had us very involved with, the area, and I think he would have definitely reconsidered if we were definitely against it, because nobody had left Ohio in my family bloodline for, I think it was
on your dad's side.
Yeah, I think anybody. My dad was in his 40s, so we were the first ones to leave, and my whole family thought we were all coming back because just nobody left our town.
Have they been to Ohio?
Since?
No, I'm just joking. I mean, everybody wants to leave Ohio. So, okay, but you were 10 or 11. Did you have a lot of... I moved to my hometown when I was 4. Right, so I didn't have these bonds with people, but at 10 or 11, I had bonds with people.
Yeah.
Did you have some friends that you lost?
I definitely had some best friends that I lost that I thought I was going to be devastated over, but you grow up and it's okay. And I'm in contact with some, but I think I did my real growing and my real relationships once I got through probably into middle school, high school. High school is where I still have a lot of kind of lifelong.
So a lot of friends, yeah. So sounds like it was a pretty positive thing overall. That's pretty cool that your dad sat you guys down.
Yeah.
Talk about how close you guys, you just said that you guys were always pretty close. What does that mean?
We were just always included. Me and my sister didn't know what babysitters were because we always were with our parents to do things. They were taking us to concerts when we were 7, 8 years old, musicals. We had movie nights and
Really?
Yeah, we never had babysitters. We might occasionally have gone to our grandparents or something, but I think that might have subconsciously maybe hurt their relationship because I feel like they didn't do dates. But we got extremely tight and close as a family, immediately, and they were really, really amazing about that.
Are you older or your sister's older?
I'm 2 years older than my sister.
You're 2 years older, okay. So I've always wanted to be an older sibling.
Sorry.
Keep working on it, Mom. But I'm not. So did you feel protective of her? I mean, from the moment that you could remember her being around?
Absolutely. Even though she's way more of a tough badass than I will ever be.
What do you mean?
We were both kind of jocks growing up, but once we got older into high school, she went full on jock and I went full on theater. And not that that's a stereotype, but then she also got into hunting, and she's
hunting?
Yeah, she's a woods girl. She's a gator hunter in Orlando.
Wait, literally hunts gators?
Absolutely. They're overpopulated. There's a season. They don't do it for sport. But
it's to help just not have them running everywhere.
Yeah, they were overpopulated, and she does it
Does she wrestle them?
No. She just kind of captures them.
Oh.
Yeah, but she hasn't done it in a while.
Okay.
But she's definitely a woman of the woods, and I'm I'll camp for concerts. But she'll camp to she's definitely a woman of the land. I'm just not the same thing.
Okay, right on. So so when I was growing up, at least when I was young, I was kind of my mom's kid and my sister was my dad's kid. Was there anything like that, or was it still this kind of democracy of all four of you? Democracy is not the word I want.
No, good. No, I think there was a period, and I don't think there was necessarily anything bad going on because they're also very protective. Like my parents did have problems, like we never ever knew about them.
Wait, you never heard them fight?
Oh no, they like fought, but like if there were ever like really bad things like questioning of marriage or anything like that, like we never knew about anything like that. But there was a period when my parents had a cleaning business where I would sleep in my parents' room, so we'd sleep together, like kind of just snuggle, and then my mom and sister would sleep in our room. So like that's kind of how the nights went. Sometimes when we would have our mornings.
So you would sleep with your dad?
Yeah.
Okay. How old were you?
This was elementary school, probably a little before. Yeah.
That's probably formed a pretty good bond then.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember we listened to the radio a lot. I think we got into a lot of music that way.
That's like your biggest thing with your dad, right? Music.
Huge.
Have you forgiven him yet for Kiss?
Never.
No?
No.
We'll get to them later.
Still going strong.
Okay, so you moved to Florida. Thank you. There's a what? Can we show that, or will we get sued?
No, it's Paul. It's
okay.
Not Gene.
All right.
We'll
There's a Paul Stanley bobblehead.
It's,
right into the middle if you want.
Yeah, you can put
it's
it right
product placement. So
yeah.
They'll appreciate that.
They are very happy.
Yes, they are. Oh, yes, Kiss is. So you moved down there. Were your grandparents down there at all?
Florida?
Yeah. Or
No.
were you? So you were the first. You left.
Yeah, that was a big deal. No one, and my dad left. We left when my dad was in his 40s, so that was huge.
Was there a falling out between your dad and them because of the leaving?
Not at all. It was just like, yeah, you're coming back. Yeah, but when you come back, and we're like, we're not coming back.
Yeah.
So it was a big assumption for years, and now we've been there for 20 plus years.
Okay, so you got down there. When did you graduate high school?
2002.
2002. Obviously, we all know 2001, 9/11 happened. Absolutely. So you were a senior in high school. I was a sophomore in college. I guess, did you ever go? Had you been to New York yet?
I went the summer before that happened. I remember because I was in a musical called 42nd Street.
Yeah.
And I was playing Broadway at that time. And I was there with my friend, and we had like one day. So we saw the musical, and we're walking around, and we're looking around New York City, and like, what should we do? We have a day. And we look up, and the towers are there, and we're like, they'll be there when we get back. So, yeah, so that was awkward. That was awkward.
And when you guys were down in Florida, your dad was still talking with his parents? And everything?
Yeah. There was no like bad blood or bad vibe. It was interesting thing about sadness, though. I was like crushed because my girlfriend had broken up with me before 9/11, and her birthday's on 9/11.
Oh.
So, like, I'm thinking about her on 9/11.
Was that her 18th? No.
She was
18th birthday?
She was younger, so probably 16, 17. Yeah, so that was, like, I immediately felt awkward. Because, like, it immediately, for the rest of your life, might not be about you.
Yeah, that's a rough day to have a birthday.
Yeah.
So, what happened? What was going on in your family then? How was... So, your grandparents are up in Ohio. You guys are down in Florida. Were your parents fighting more? Or about the same?
Not
or they
to my
didn't?
knowledge, there never was a lot of fighting. That's the thing. Like it's stuff I might have discovered later through conversations, but we never like saw anything. But I mean, it wasn't like anything like crazy, like abuse or anything like that. But I think there was financial struggles, which is like such a common story. It's not even
like for them or for your family or.
I think, to my knowledge, post 9/11, I think my grandparents had a lot of money invested in some private, like one or two private investors. And suppose, like, I don't know this story verbatim. It's kind of gray, but apparently I think a lot of people did, but I think they lost a lot of investment after 9/11. And then I think that became kind of like the conversation of their lives, like kind of daily, when there was like this.
Did you see them much around that time?
They visited a ton. No, they came by.
Did they seem more defeated after that?
Very much defeated. I mean, how could they not? They were in their,
was that their
70s, yeah.
Were they both retired at that point? Did they have to go back and work?
My grandfather was. My grandfather went back to work because he liked it. That's a strange thing.
Is he okay?
He's since passed. No.
Okay, gotcha.
No, but he was going back, at least to my knowledge. He was an electrician. He had been for his whole life.
Gotcha. Been
an electrician in World War II, and he eventually got his own business. And but supposedly, at least to our knowledge, he went back because he liked it. He disliked being around the factory and stuff. So, which completely makes sense from his generation and whatnot.
Yeah. And did that have their financial troubles? Did that have an effect on your immediate family?
I don't think so, not to my knowledge, but there was definitely, it was always just, money was just always a conversation. Always a conversation. And I think it might have subconsciously kind of got wired in my brain because I stress very much over money, and I very much get subconscious and anxious over financial situations. I think it represents me. So if I'm not like financially well, I think that dictates how people maybe invest their relationships in me
or perceive you.
Yeah, which might not be true at all, but like it's my subconscious.
Do you feel like if you don't quote have any money, that they perceive you as lesser?
Absolutely. People have not a ton of people. There's this one example when I remember I was trying to when I was like talking with a girl, and there was like, I think there was another gentleman that was into her as well, and like one of his ploys was like, he's really bad with money, right? Like
he said that to her?
Yeah. So
did that sway her?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. But it was just interesting because it was like a close friend of mine as well at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago was this?
It was probably 08, 09. But it was,
so were you living up here yet?
Yeah, I was here. I got here.
Here being Chicago.
Sorry, Chicago, Illinois. 2008, January, right at the beginning of 2008.
Okay, you got here just a couple months after me.
Yeah, 07, end of 07, 08.
Yeah. So, but it didn't sway her.
No.
What do you mean bad with money?
I'm not frugal. Everything, it's always just been kind of tight because I do impulsively. I don't have like a gambling addiction or something like that.
You have a Dave Matthews Band concert addiction.
A pinch.
Yeah.
A pinch. I don't travel. I don't follow the band.
Well, you just did. Well, that's true. But you've seen them how many times?
In 18 years?
Yeah.
40.
Okay, so that's just like a little over 2 a year.
Yeah, and I'm very much a rookie still, by some people.
Yeah, some people are real.
They're like, it's my 300th show. Like,
well, that's so much to say about that.
But like, can't believe I laughed at that.
Yeah, thank God somebody.
Well, how much
did.
would you see Dylan if he toured every summer?
I'd see him every time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right?
I'm not saying they're.
No, I understand, but it's like I've seen him 9 times. But my friend has seen him like 26, 27 times.
Yeah, but it's like Kiss. Like if they toured more, I would see them more.
I've seen them once.
Well,
that was enough. Okay, so do you think that the going back to your family, the loss of the money affected your parents' relationship? Like, were they? You didn't see them fight. Did you see them be affectionate towards each other? I mean,
no. I never saw that as a problem, though.
No, yeah.
But no, I don't think I ever saw them be intimate. I don't even think I ever saw them hold hands. When I'm extremely affectionate, but I don't know where and I think I get that from my mother. I definitely have my mother's heart, but I never saw it, but I never perceived it as a problem. So I don't know if that was like trickery or just the vibe of daily life.
Okay, yeah. And a couple years later, 2005, your mom got sick, is that right?
Yeah, 05, 06, okay. She got heart congestive failure, and that kind of changed the game big time because then she had to stop working. And then...
so how does one treat that?
It's kind of like a maintain, at least to my knowledge. She had an experimental surgery where she had somewhat of like an acorn mesh put around her heart that contained the size and prevented it from getting bigger. So... and that experimental surgery has since passed, so she doesn't have that anymore. So she's definitely been living off of meds, and but the thing about my mother is you would never know, and that's just like she just has a.
How did you find out about it?
I don't remember. She's just had it for so long. I don't even remember now. I know it was around Halloween, I think, 05, 06, I think. But it was just interesting because her condition, her disease, her heart probably works at between 10 and 17%. But
that's it?
Yeah, like apparently she shouldn't even be able to walk, but you would never know she even had a problem. Because it's just like, talk about mind over matter or whatever. So that's been psychologically really weird because she doesn't have an attitude that she's sick, so people don't always treat her with the attitude that she's sick. So the patterns and routines of like daily life sometimes are just continued because nothing gets crazy until she gets like really sick. And I don't tend to panic until she panics. We very much have the same kind of.
Was that your reaction when you first found out? Were you devastated? Like what kind of reaction?
No,
did you have?
I very much am. I'd be a emotional mess if something happened, but I just kind of don't tend to panic unless she is. There was a really bad time where she got, what is it, Smoky Mountain fever? What's the bad? She got a bad.
I don't know what that is.
She got a bad fever, flu while traveling to Ohio one time from Florida, and she got put in the hospital. We thought it was a heart condition, and like to the point where I flew to see her
from here.
I think it was, it was definitely Chicago. And it was just me and her. And like, I thought that it was like bad. Like, I thought it was bad. And then they're like, oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and they're like, oh, you're fine. And then they gave her something and then she was fine. But like, it was like uncontrollable sobbing. Like, she's like, this is it. And then it was just like, oh, you just got sick on a road trip.
You were both uncontrollably sobbing or just you?
I was, because she was so.
Was she out of it?
She was so out of it. Yeah, in such really bad shape.
Where was your brother sister and father?
They were in Florida.
They were already there. Okay.
I think there was like a financial struggle to get there, and I was in Chicago, so I think I took a bus or something. I think I took a mega bus or something.
Okay.
But that was huge.
What kind of thoughts? I think a lot. Well, I think about what it's going to be like to lose a parent. I have friends who've lost their parents, obviously. What kind of thoughts did you have when you were, sounds like, pretty sure that this could be it?
The only thing that scares me about my parents passing, outside of like, I have a daily relationship with my mother. Like, we still text each other good night. We still text each other good morning. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a routine. It's just how it goes. Okay. Even if she forgets, she'll wake up and I'll get a 2 a.m. text just so she did it. It's just like this.
Does she do that with your sister as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And your sister she tries to, does she also do the same routine?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But my fear of them passing is I think I'd be so devastated that I feel like things wouldn't matter, so I could just really fuck things up or make mistakes because I would feel there'd be no consequences because I just wouldn't care. Because of having that kind of pain and loss. Like, well, what does this matter? Mom's gone. What does this matter if I do this? Or what does it matter if I do that?
Yeah.
But
I think you'd become self-destructive?
I think there'd be potential, but I also think she'd be really pissed out at me and come for me from the grave. I think it would be the biggest disrespect to do that. Obviously, that's a situation we'd have to discuss if it happened. But I would like to think at the end of the day, I'd be respectful for how I was raised by her to be pushing forward and positive.
Now, so your mom has been dealing with that for about 14 years-ish, sounds like. How's your dad's health?
My dad's always had situations with gout. We have a lot of self-inflicted diabetes in my family.
Yeah.
But
is he diabetic?
He is diabetic now.
So is my dad. He's self-inflicted diabetic. Yeah.
It was more diagnosed recently, but the diabetes. We think it's the diabetes, but supposedly he had it bad in his feet. It traveled up and got to his spine, and then when it got to his spine, he had some surgeries that could have put him out. So that kind of came out of nowhere. And then he was on kind of death's table for a while where we were flying to Florida being you need to be here because this could be it. And then that put him out of a job. So that was all very complicated too. But now things are starting to kind of just get a little more.
How did he deal with that as being the person who sat his family down and said, I want to talk to you as one of the leaders of this family. We're going to go to Florida, and now he's out of a job, and probably, I imagine, since it was his spine and he was close to death, he was incapacitated. How did he react to that?
I'm very lost. My mom's had conditions her whole life, so I think my dad hasn't had a lot of issues, so I think he was more in a panic, and then that put us more in a panic.
Yeah. So you and your sister both kind of look to your parents for how to react to these things with them, at least.
Probably
right?
more my mother.
Your mom, okay.
Yeah, and my mom was level-headed and grounded, and But speaking more of my sister, she's the rock and the base of my family. My family would be nothing now without my sister.
What do you mean?
She's definitely taken full responsibility of taking care of things, and that's made me feel very small at times.
What, small because you feel like you're not contributing?
Yeah, and they haven't said anything. They don't make me feel that way. That's all me.
It's all you.
They've said nothing ever about that. And they're very supportive because I left to do art and theater and music, and things are finally starting to pick up where I'm succeeding financially and artistically, which is like so strange.
Right.
They're my number one fans and supporters, so that's why I think I could still do it. Because I think if there was any kind of guilt that they were giving to me, which they never have, I think I would move back home immediately. With that, where you say they never say anything, you bring it up in your mind. Absolutely.
Do you do that with a lot of situations where you infer, like I'm causing this person trouble?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What is there something that triggers that?
No, I don't know what does that. I could be very dramatic, absolutely, but I don't know what started that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you ever feel like it's a control mechanism?
I think it can be because I step away and go, oh, yeah. I think I can definitely dive deep. I don't think I've done anything inflicting to myself where I did any kind of damage mentally or physically, but I could definitely get in like just super sad places, and probably for no reason if I just kind of step back and I was like, oh, this is a situation and not a life problem. Yeah.
So it's something that maybe you spun up in your head, and it is.
Oh,
it is
totally.
How long does it usually? Well, I guess this. Had you always realized that's what it is, or did you have to go through it a number of times? Meaning, a manufactured crisis in your mind, where you have your own created world where you're worried about something.
I think I've only really done that in relationships. I don't think I've really done that in any other scenario.
Well, like jealousy type stuff, or when you say like you mean romantic relationships?
Yeah, head games, which 99% of the time aren't happening. But then sometimes I've had the head games, and then the head games have been right. So maybe I'm relying so much on those one or two situations where the impulse or the idea or the theory was correct.
Right.
And it's so right, and you're just like, ugh. And it just like rips your heart out.
It's like I once wrote a poem called Hypochondriac. Thank you. Called Hypochondriac, and all it was a list of everything that I've ever been afraid of, and then the last line was, I was right about the kidney stone, I'll be right again. So it's the same type of thing, but the fallacy in that logic is so apparent, right? Yeah. My therapist and I always talk about when I say, well, what if this is going to happen? What if that? And the first thing she always says is, well, you'll deal with it. Yeah. Which is endlessly frustrating. I take my copay back. Yeah. But
I have to Venmo for this?
Yeah. For that shit. And then the second thing she says, what is the % chance that that's going to happen? Yeah. And she makes me say a number. And I'll be like, I don't know, 0.0004.
Rude.
Yeah. But do you know what I mean? So
no, 100%.
To say like, well, it happened that one time, so now with this new girl, I'm right this time, maybe.
I will say I don't. To my knowledge, you probably have to talk to my partners, but I kind of go in still very open-hearted and open-minded. I definitely have baggage. We all do, but like I very much come in like I'm still very. I'm not checked out, which I think a lot of people can be after they've just been.
You're not cynical about it.
Not yet. Working on it.
Working on.
I should be.
Work harder for fuck's sake.
No, I just I don't think, and again, I'm speaking from my perspective of the relationship, that I think I give a lot of credit before it's earned.
To your partner?
Immediately, yeah.
You put them on pedestals?
Absolutely. I think they, in a sense, they should be, because you're choosing something. You're making a choice. There's that perspective that I used to think too when I was so young. So it's like, you just don't find people attractive anymore. You don't love other things or have feelings for. This is like a young me.
Yeah.
So like you are actively choosing to be exclusive with someone. So I think in a form, and not an obsessive way or a trophy way, but they need to be something a little more above, or I don't think it's worth it. Again, that's my opinion.
Do you subjugate yourself to them in that placing them on a pedestal, do you think?
Possibly, yeah. I definitely mold to my relationships. For sure, if that makes sense.
Explain a little more about what do you mean by that?
Patterns, schedules, potentially lifestyles. I've gotten into food. I've gotten into different cultures. I've gotten into, which I feel like you do. Yeah. But I've found respect for different types of art forms. Just things I'm just not around. But like, I'm kind of like, I can go to a ball game. I can go to the ballet. Like, I don't do anything to put up with my partner, I do because I'm just genuinely interested.
And what they're interested in.
Yeah, you want to go do, claymation films. Let's go do that's a terrible example.
Claymation films?
I've just never done it.
You date some weird people.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it's
like Parks and Rec.
Ooh, thank you. Or Ghost, although that was pottery.
See, I think I was thinking pottery.
Yeah.
But we went claymation. And now I'm thinking about Clayface from Batman.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it. I don't know what that is.
Well, that's a shame because he was great.
Yeah. Oh, all right, Brent.
Clayface needs to be in a movie.
Clayface is a villain? Is a villain in Batman?
Oh, it's great. It's all cosmetic.
Oh.
Love yourself.
Okay.
He was very sad.
Yeah, well, the Joker's real sad. Well, the Joker's just fucked up.
Clayface would be a great sad times.
Should we get Clayface on, Brent?
We need
work on it.
We need to Clayface's whoever that. I feel terrible. Whoever Clayface is.
Yeah. Bring him on. So, sorry. Going back to relationships, how do you connect with your partner? What's the main way you connect? You said that you like to go to baseball. Like, if let's say they like baseball or ballet.
What do you mean by connect? Like initial.
What's the most important connection for you when you start a relationship?
If I'm telling the truth.
Yes. You'll be the first one on this show.
Just kidding. This is not everything, but I think at the end of the day, it's extremely. I don't know how I want to say this because it obviously definitely like conversation and chemistry. There's it's a vibe. There was a conversation that I had in a relationship that did not work when I said there's not a vibe here, and they're like, I don't know what you mean by vibe, and I said that means we don't have a vibe, and I've had very short, intimate relationships with people that lasted a day, and I've had very long relationships that lasted years when that was an undiscussed thing that was happening because we understood what a vibe was. And that's not the same thing every time, but you just see each other and it just works.
Yeah.
Whether it works for a day and just floats away in a positive light, or it lasts for weeks, months, years. But it's not something you can explain. It's just something you're like, yeah, that's that.
Do you ever think that when you're in a relationship and you're not feeling the vibe, like some people say, I'll start a book, I'll give it 50 pages, and if I don't like it after 50 pages, I'm going to turn it down. Do you have a timeline to say, if I don't feel the vibe by, because you just said one day, how long would you allow for a vibe to gestate? Yeah,
no, I think initial interest and spark is important.
Yeah.
I don't think that has to last every day.
Yeah.
But I think that has to be there. However, one of the best relationships I've ever been in, we had an incredible first date. We had a terrible second date.
Yeah.
And we had an amazing third date. And that's when we're like...
How'd you get to that third date if the second date was so bad?
We were just it wasn't anything toxic or bad. It was just awkward and weird, and it was cold. And we were just we went out for drinks at this bar. The first date was this bar, and then we got tickets to this free show, and then we went to the free show the next day, and it was just it was just all very can I and then
oh yeah,
and then the third date was incredible.
Okay. How long did you end up dating that person?
A little over a year. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, still best friends. So really good, supportive friends. So.
Are you friends with all of your exes?
Absolutely not.
No. Would you, if you had your druthers? I have friends who, when they break up with somebody, they're like, that person, I don't want to ever see them, talk to them again, ever. They're not even, they don't exist to me, right?
Yeah.
I can't subscribe to that, but I also understand that there has to be boundaries.
Yeah.
And you have to say, I can't see you if you were the one who was just really hurt, or you were both really hurt.
Absolutely.
Do you have any people with animus towards you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's confusing to me. This is a case by case again. I'm going to preface this before so I can just talk. But obviously these are my opinions. These are not everybody's opinions. I've had exes that still have a problem with me being in a room when they're with somebody new. And that's very strange for me because I feel like when I do find somebody new, I'm thankful that didn't work out. So when I walk into a room and it's someone can't acknowledge me as a person, I don't want to but they can't acknowledge me as a person, and they're dating somebody, I think that's very strange to me. I think it's a disservice to who they're seeing.
What do they ever specify why they don't want you there? Are they afraid they still like you type of thing?
Past actions for sure.
Fighting and
it's past. It's past. And there's been times where I never want to see someone again, or I feel awful, or I'm devastated, or super pissed, and then you feel really weird about it years later. You're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
remember my high school sweetheart, like it was just like bad. And then we're just like, hey, like that was silly, when you get older.
Going to Chicago.
Yeah, but there's some people, there's been some, it's been 10 plus years and they won't acknowledge me if we're in a room together. And it's super strange to me.
Do you feel guilty about that?
Absolutely.
Shame?
No, it's just silly. It feels very, it just feels very childish, and it feels childish because I've done that as well. Like there's a lot of things that I've done, but when that much time has passed, and that at that point we have both been through multiple relationships, it just seems kind of silly.
Yeah.
But again, that's a case by case, and I don't know their journey, and they don't know mine, and because we're not talking,
right?
But it's just, I always thought that was just kind of silly. I just feel like if I was in a room with my current girlfriend, and I was just like went white, or like can't be around them. I'm not talking about like if someone beat the shit out of you, or if someone like scared the like did something like that. Like that's I feel like a completely valid different story. But like this wasn't the case.
But you've had some pretty in knowing you, you've had some really intense emotional connections with people.
Yeah, it's just kind of how I roll. Someone, I kind of got mad at somebody. I was really upset that an ex of mine has nothing to do with me, and there was no bad blood. It was in a bad breakup. Nothing toxic. It was sad, but like there was nothing like devastatingly bad about it. And then for about the next 6 months to a year, we were really good friends, I thought. And then when she got in a relationship, she just disappeared.
And she stopped talking to you.
Yeah, to the point where I was under the impression that she was around because she wanted to be around me. I was like, this is going to change when you find someone, And she's like, no, it won't, to the point of like tears and crying and all this stuff. And then she got someone, and then she acknowledged that she had met someone, and then nothing. She would like respond to like a technical question because like I had to get mail or I had to get something.
Yeah.
But like it was never like a casual like, hey, did you see that movie? Or hey, I saw so and so, thought of you. Like nothing.
Did that hurt you?
Oh, it was devastating. But now people perceive that as me missing her to want to be back with her, and that's the farthest from the truth. But
you had a good friendship with her.
Yeah, it was something that was just pulled out of my life. And like we would like we weren't in constant connection, but like we'd shoot a text, or we'd have a quick conversation, or there'd be like a Facebook like something where it's like, oh, I'm acknowledging, like
a Facebook like,
or just like acknowledge, like
Instagram,
the bullshit we do, where you see a like and you put all the value in it. You're like, oh, I'm good for 24 hours. The
dopamine.
Yeah, absolutely. But like even when you see that disappear, you're just like, wow, we're just like, why? Like this, I'm happy for you. This is great. And of course you are. Like when she started to kind of go dark, it was like she met somebody, and that's great, super great. But it was just like I wasn't trying to steal you. There was never any awkward physical like mess ups, where you make mistakes and you sleep. Like there was none of that. It was just like we just did the common things together, which probably made it harder. There wasn't a big physical relationship in that relationship, so I thought maybe that would take a lot of the miss. I don't know if you've been in just physical relationships where they were very unhealthy when you were broken up.
You mean with the ex?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, bad relapses. Oh, that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
But that was great. But that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But that was great.
But
there was none of that. So that's what I was like. There wasn't even any kind of toxic relapsing with us too, where you would need to distance yourself if you were in a serious relationship. So that's why I was very thrown.
Okay.
And that sucked.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Yes. And instead of I've been cheated on to my knowledge twice, and instead of taking a high road, I think I put myself in situations that I thought I couldn't be forgiven for. AKA, I cheated either emotionally or physically. And I think I subconsciously do that to myself because I don't know maybe how to get out of things. So I'll do something that I know is just probably unforgivable. And I haven't done that in a long time, but that's...
Wait, and what is the goal there? So that you can
it's not a goal.
Get out of the situation?
No, like at least in my experience, or if that happens to me, like if there's cheating, like there's really no going back. Like there's maybe, but like there's not. So I think I subconsciously, and that was something when I was in therapy. It's like, this is such a common tale. You know how many times people do that to put themselves in positions where they probably can't be forgiven for. So it's like, it's kind of messed up. Like it's kind of self-inflicting in the same
self-sabotage.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you would only do that. The times that you did that was in reaction to somebody cheating on you.
To mine, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah,
but yeah, absolutely.
And have you cheated on somebody initially?
Definitely mentally, but also I'm very like upfront about it. Like it's very strange.
Tell me, what do you mean by that?
I was in a very, very emotionally I was in a very intense relationship, and it was either like really good or really bad, and like there were I had games where I thought she was still talking to people, and I did that fucked up thing where you went to their phone, but there's also things on their phone, so like, is it fucked up? Like things like that.
It's like, well, look what I found.
Yeah, this is like super awkward, but there's stuff on here, and you said there wasn't stuff on here, and like.
How did you confront that person about this?
Yes, I did. No, when I found it immediately, this was in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what made me do it. But I was like, phone, and I saw it, and then it became a conversation. So I think I vocalized that I wanted to get over it, and I think I kind of did, but everything's so tender when that stuff happens, and you're so irrational. But then a couple months later, I was at a brewery, and a friend of a friend was in town, and we were just like connecting, and people thought we were together. Like we weren't touching or anything, but we were so close.
Yeah.
That people thought we were a couple. I was like, that was
like you and me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you don't ask me out.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Oh yeah. But we.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. But we. No, but and this is the fucked up shit that I do. I don't want, but like I was so sad. And not admitting it to myself, and still being in this relationship, and the bullshit that is occasionally, sometimes, case by case with drinking. I just felt alive. I wasn't even because of the drinking that night, to tell you the truth, but I felt alive. I felt wanted. And it was like this is very much in the past. I think that's why it's cool talking about it. But I felt wanted again, and I felt alive, and it felt really good. And we went home together. And I was like, this is mine. This is going to be my thing. I'm not going to talk about it. This is
I'm just going to keep it and not going to tell?
It was going to be mine. And I don't do that. But like, this is going to be my thing, and it's going to be fine. And I think she gave me, well, in my head, I got this weird green light where I said, I'm not happy and all this stuff. And she went, not my circus. And I went, all right. And then, so.
This was after you'd gone home with her?
No, this is before.
Oh, okay.
So
this is what gave you the green. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So there was liquid courage there, but there was also just such a sadness, and none of it's right.
And the sadness stemming from when you found that stuff on your phone where you felt betrayed and you felt like you were not being wanted by her.
Yeah, I'm not good. I'm not. If there's a lack of trust, even a smallest percent, and this is something I probably should work on, but like if a percentage of like trust is lost in that kind of world, I'm subconsciously done. And I don't admit that to myself. And I need to work on that. But also, I could also just be in trusting or open relationships where there's a communication. But like subconsciously, I'm done. Especially when I've been questioning it. And then it's actually happening. Like I say, is this happening? No. Is this happening? No. Tears. No, it's not happening. And then it's happening. Like.
Well, okay, so in this situation, the one with the girl where you found the thing on the phone, what made you question it in the first place? Was it your own head games like we were talking about before, or?
He didn't disappear. He was around.
This was like an ex?
I guess.
Okay.
And it's, again, social media bullshit.
What do you mean by social media bullshit?
You see that
you saw that he was liking things?
He's liking these things. He's not liking these things. It's so stupid. Oh, he's not liking the relationship pictures, but he's liking these.
Oh, I'm out at a bar with my friends' pictures.
But these sexy pictures.
Uh-huh.
These relationship pictures. Like, we all do it. I do it. Like, you just get weird tells. So I questioned it. It was happening. But back at the bar, to say what I do.
Yeah.
Still talk, No, so said, not my circus. I was like, great. Go back to mine, sleep together. This is my thing. She leaves, And I immediately take a shower. It's like 4 a.m. I'm on the phone with my mom.
You called your mother?
I told her what I was doing. She's like, don't tell her. This is don't. I was like, I have to do it. I can't do this. This is wrong. It was like immediately after. And I went right to her place and told her.
In the middle of the night? Well, like
4 a.m. Yeah.
And what did what was her reaction?
A blow up. Super unnaturally so.
Yeah.
But
was that when you guys finally broke up?
Yeah, and then we had kind of physical relapses and things like that because we were a very physical couple.
Yeah.
But that was.
Why do you think you had to tell her?
I can't keep secrets. That's another thing about judgment. I feel like you have to kind of have my whole history, or I feel like I'm keeping something from you. Like if I remotely am close to someone and they come over, it's like, by the way, I had a couple of dates with them, or I know them, or hey, that's an ex, because I don't want any kind of gray area.
So it seems like you're really wary of not doing to other people what you're so afraid of to have happen to you. To even a small slip up of trust, or to not say what you'd been doing.
Yeah.
And you feel guilty even if you do slip up's not the right word. Even if you do maybe emotionally have a connection with somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that that I'm choosing and this is you, and but I feel like if you're not letting in on something, maybe you're hiding it for some reason, and like I don't know, that's a big anxiety thing too, where hey, I'm not talking to them anymore, or like hey, we're not talking like that anymore, or hey, by the way, that's not a thing, and they're not even asking. I'm just
and then maybe are they like, okay, I don't know why you're bringing that up. Yeah, I know you're. Boy, I tell you what, you think that was the first yawn I suppressed, buddy? I was just a lot better at him earlier. Going back to social media, so you look at, does social media stress you out?
Absolutely. I think if it doesn't, you're lying.
Yeah, but you get the dopamine hits.
Oh yeah, it's great.
What Did it today? You got some hits today?
No, just like the biggest toxic social media thing, in my opinion, right now is the Instagram stories.
Now, why are they toxic? I don't really know what those are.
Instagram stories, Facebook has stories as well.
Okay, I've seen a few of those.
Okay, so stories can be seen by people who don't follow you or like you. So that means an ex can kind of dip in and you can see that they saw them. This is how my mind works. I don't know how you all work. But
okay.
So you can see, like if your ex isn't following you, you can see that they're looking at your stuff.
So if you posted a story, you can go and look and say, did person X?
Yeah, and I've done that as well. That's the thing. So it's just like,
But then do you feel really defeated if you really want person X to be there looking?
100%.
And they're not looking? You're like, well, I just made the story for you.
Yeah, not even that. It could be about posting about the sky. But like, what?
Why aren't you looking at this? You have access.
So then you don't know if they're going through periods of missing you, or they're bored, or if they're genuinely like wanting to be back in your life. It's all irrelevant. So stupid. I took a break from social media for a couple months. It was like the greatest month of my life.
Then what about like if you say you break up with somebody? Do you worry about how that person's friends are going to view you?
Yes.
In social media land, in real life?
I've had massive anxiety over that because it's been really bad in my past. My most recent relationship, I had massive anxiety that no one was going to like me because I knew them through her, and they've been awesome. So that's been a crazy thing. That's me adjusting. But like, yeah, I've had massive fallouts with friends of exes because they were like their friends or.
So they like chose sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
So massive anxiety because you felt like you did something wrong, or because they're not going to like you, and that is very obviously difficult to take?
Both. And the thing that's also interesting about all that, I remember when I cheated, the 4 a.m. thing.
Yep.
I was texting her friends being like, I'm so sorry.
What? Really?
That this happened, and take care.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just like, because it's a combination of being like, I'm not hiding. I've never I don't necessarily always bring things up, but I won't hide anything if I'm asked about it. Like I'll talk about it. It's fucked up, but like I'll talk about it. And some people just brush over things and ignore it and like start anew. But like if you ask me something, like I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah.
Even friends of friends, like, hey, did that happen? I was like, yeah, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks, but yeah.
I think that's cool. But with her friends, when you cheat on her, had they reached out to you first? Or were you just like, hey,
No.
just want to let you know I cheated on person?
No, I think closer people, I was just like, hey, I'm so sorry that I did this to her. Like, it was a combination of probably me wanting to make sure they were okay, / I'm sorry, I'm just such a dick.
You felt guilty.
Oh, 100%. It was fucked up.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, it's fucked up.
What do you think social media is doing to us?
You can't get over people. I was just talking about this with my friend today. Like, when my parents were dating in the 80s, like, if they broke up, you just didn't see them.
Yeah.
There was no Instagram stories or Facebook messages or Facebook posts. Like, you might have saw them at the grocery store. You might have saw them at the bar. You might have saw them at the mall. But, like, you didn't see people.
Yeah.
Unless, like, we were in, like, small town people. So, like, I think you just had an opportunity to really get over someone or really kind of think on things to see if you want to do something to mend. There's also a constant option. It's online dating, and I'm guilty of it too. Something doesn't work out, you just go right back on and find somebody else. And, like, that's not necessarily not real, but, like, I don't think we have time to process. And I'm a serial monogamist, at least I used to be.
Yeah.
So, like, I've had steady girlfriends since I was like 15.
And you're 36, 35.
35, and
35.
this is the longest I think I've been single.
Yeah.
I'm not good at casual. I'm trying to be.
Just
But, like, I'm not good at it. And I don't want to be good at it, because if there's a good connection, I want to see you again. So, yeah, I don't like it.
What about when you actually find somebody that you like, right? And you have a connection with them, but then you're kind of like, well, maybe I don't want this to be a relationship, but that person very much does.
That's super hard. That's recently happened as well. Logistically, I think it was another thing too, like not living in the same places, like things like that. But as long as not, I just dive really deep, really fast. So I don't want to say it gives the wrong impression, but, like, it doesn't necessarily allow me to be fair. It's not fair, but it's also, like, I feel like that won't be like that when it, like, is correct with someone.
So when you say you dive really deep, really fast, and maybe that's not fair, like, you want that emotional connection right away, but then maybe after a few weeks or however long it is, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't the person I want to be in a relationship with, and then they've already committed pretty hard to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or my old school self, or sometimes still now when I'm, like, down in the dumps or just sad, I'll chase, I'll curate, I'll keep trying to, like, this is me, I'm great. And, like,
new people or just people you knew before?
A lot of people in my past were just like me, or I talk and we talk and we talk and nothing, and I just keep trying and trying and trying. I'm doing this. So when they finally get there, and we're finally, I think I'm going like that.
You're like, oh, again, the chase is over?
No, I don't even think it's the love of the chase. It was just like the work. You're like, wait, this isn't about us. This is about, now they like me because I, like, worked for them as opposed to us working together. I just want so desperately for some people to like me, and, like, it just, like, wasn't happening. And then maybe they come around, and then it'd be like kind of gone in a way.
Like, you would be like, well, I'm not as interested anymore. Is that what you mean by
not
gone?
Even necessarily interested. It was just like I would realize, like, wait, I've just been fighting to attain this person who really wasn't interested.
Yeah.
So that sucks, Then you're like, I feel like, oh no, you're here because I convinced you. That's at least what I feel like. It's not necessarily the truth, but everybody's got their own process to how long they take, I think, to fall or to get over. So
yeah.
And I've definitely been in things where I got in way too fast after relationships, for sure. But it doesn't make the relationship that I eventually got into any less, I think, honest. But yeah, so I kind of don't know where I lie, and it's even more confusing now because I'm traveling so much.
Yeah, so you're traveling a lot, and you're an artist, mainly an actor, but you're also a musician.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think you're mainly both.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
You just created an album, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the theme of the album and why you created the album and kind of what it means to you.
I've never done a record. I've done one, but I've never done a record that was just purely mine. I GoFunded me the money to get it. I went in a legit studio with an engineer. It was my gig. They did what they wanted. They did what I wanted. I did the process, and I've never done that. I've always been in bands or collaborations or bedroom records, like home studios, which is all great. But I was like, I've never just done like a record. I commissioned an album cover. But bottom line, I wanted to put out a record that pretty much has a lot of the most important songs I've ever written so far. So from high school to now.
Wow. Okay.
There's 12 songs on the record. And I was talking about my anxiety, where I feel like my sister does and is everything in my family. So I wanted to try to do something to contribute. So 50% of all sales of this record will go towards my parents' medical prescriptions or whatever they need to kind of breathe a little more easier. And that also happened with the GoFundMe. I think I went to raise, I think I needed 6 or 7 to make the record with funding and everything. And I got up to about 1,500. So they got that additional. And
wow,
also,
that's great.
Yeah, and records don't sell these days.
No.
So that might motivate people to kind of put a little more into it.
How can people buy it?
iTunes, all the main social media, digital streaming services, but it's also streaming on Apple Music and Spotify, and Bandcamp is it's an artist more site for streaming. That's the best way to financially benefit the artist, which I wouldn't really care about, but since money is going to my parents.
So if I stream it on Bandcamp, you get more money than if I streamed it on Spotify?
Yeah, if you buy it on Bandcamp, I would receive more royalties than iTunes streaming or iTunes purchases.
Okay.
So.
And we'll put the links to where you can stream it and purchase it on this episode. Look down. Okay. I've heard the record. I really like it a lot.
You're one of the first people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You helped me with track order.
Yeah.
I remember.
I don't.
It's a great record.
No, it's a really good record. I really like it. And
one more family stuff though with that.
Yeah, go.
It's called All That We Send, and it's an ode to a book that my great grandfather wrote called All That We Send. It's got a lot of the same fonts and color schemes and everything, but also one of the songs is based off of a love letter that my grandfather wrote to my grandmother.
And I love that song that he wrote in a hotel room.
Yeah, he was traveling. It's called Little Washington, Pennsylvania, in 1977. It was literally from a letter he wrote her while he was just alone and lonely in a hotel. They've been married for 20 plus years at that point. And he's still writing these just like, I love you and I miss you. I'm sorry that you're stressed and I want to be with you and I can't sleep and I'm watching love films and it's making me miss you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh. And it's just like, I literally just did a couple things to rhyme scheme it, but it was just him. It was so cool. And he got a writing credit, which was really cool. And it's sad that he can't.
He's no longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
was
still
this
so cool.
your dad's parents? The same one we were talking about? And now is your dad's mom she's still around?
She's our one grandparent that's still kicking ass.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last question I have for you.
Yeah.
And this is a somewhat serious question. What's the saddest thing? What has made you the saddest about Kiss? Because you are a giant Kiss fan.
The saddest thing about Kiss? I had a happy sadness when I saw them. I've cried when I've seen them.
How many times have you seen them?
7 or 8.
You saw them first in '92, right? Revenge Tour.
Yeah.
I know that. Oh yeah.
Live 3 was basically.
Yeah, I got that from the library and didn't listen to it. So.
With all of our downfalls.
Yeah. Well.
I remember. I thought we weren't going to see them. I remember the reunion tour got announced when they put the makeup on.
Yeah.
Peter came back, and I was under the impression that we were not going to get to go. And I sobbed for hours in my room. This was probably 7th grade.
You actually were crying.
Big time.
And it was
because they put the makeup back. It was it was all happening. I was just saw it. And we went.
All 4 of you?
Just me and my dad.
Yeah.
My whole family went to the reunion tour. The farewell tour. The first farewell tour.
The farewell tour that was in 2000?
The original, the one you saw.
Yeah, the one that I worked at the SIU Arena.
The original for farewell tour. That's what they're saying now, so they can still make money at this last tour. Yeah. But now my dad, my uncle, and myself are seeing their actual farewell tour at the end of August.
You think you guys will all cry?
For one reason or the other.
Yeah.
Heat.
Heat.
Travel. Skyline Chili.
Oh, so you're going to see it in Ohio?
We're absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we all started there. We all got in there. So.
Tell the folks one Kiss song to listen to. Genuinely should listen to.
Sure Know Something, off of Dynasty.
That's a good song.
It's a good song. No, it's never played.
As I like to say it, most of Kiss songs, no offense, blow ass.
But Dynasty is actually a pretty consensual, not too sexual. Well, X-Ray Eyes is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But Dynasty's their disco record. I was made for Loving You's on it, which was in Moulin Rouge. So I was like, oh, Moulin Rouge. I was like, yeah, it's Kiss. But Sure Know Something. Great.
That is a good song. Awesome, man. Jon, thanks for being on. Really appreciate it.
I hope that was cool. to talk about. That was very nerve-wracking talking about some of that stuff because it's past, but it's
No, it's not easy at all.
it sucks because like what you did what?
Yeah,
That's your opinion on that. But
I think that you were honest and you just told it from your perspective, and that doesn't that is valuable.
Yeah, time and place is everything. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you,
sir. We'll be back soon. As I keep saying, we're going to have more announcements soon, and we will. We do have a YouTube channel, which we will plug, and then as a reminder, please check out Jon's record. We will have the links under this, what you're watching now. Give it a stream, give it a buy. Again, half of the proceeds go to help his parents with any of their medical expenses, and he'll be on the road, and so that would be awesome if you could support Jon. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back soon, and we'll
also,
see you.
Are there credits to this show?
Not
At
really.
the end?
No.
Okay, well, then the beginning of the show, just turn it down and put mute. And Blake kisses "I'm Just a Boy" as the show.
I don't want to be sued.
I think you'll get a whole.
I don't want to be sued.
No, I'm asking them to play it on their own.
At home.
So
at home, like they're listening to like.
I feel like the journey's way more.
Yeah.
Going
in fact, anytime that I talk, just play "I'm Just a Boy" and just that's what's coming out of my mouth, because what I'm saying doesn't matter, but that matters. All right, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.